This is the X1 bag. It comes on pretty much all of our bikes, so being able to install it quickly will really help you out. The bag has a couple different types of loops. It has loops attached to the bag, like these ones, and then loops that are attached to the straps, like those ones. The strap loops are Velcro, the other ones are webbing. This bag has two parts. One's the front flap, which is held on by these three buckles and Velcro. And then the back part of the bag, which has some pockets in there, but most importantly, these webbing loops. And that's what actually secures the bag to the bike. One way to install this bag is to undo these webbing loops and then kind of lace the bag onto the rack, but that takes a little while, and I find it's much easier just to lace the bag onto the rack. So line everything back up again, and it's important to remember that there is a front side and a back side to the rack. The pointy bit is for the front. Same goes for the bags. The sharp corner goes on the front, blunt corner goes on the rear. There's also a tag in here to remind you that this is a left side bag. All right, so to get it on there, simply take your rack, start with the front of the rack at the rear of the bag, and then thread it through all the loops, so the Velcros and the webbing loops. All right, and it's going to get a little bunched up on there. That's fine. All right. And then one last loop. All right, so now your bag's on there. Kind of squinch it around. And then pull it out, and there you go. It's an X1 bag on a V-rack, ready to be installed onto the bike. Check it out. Now it looks like a bag on a rack. And now you can just install it directly back into those vertical ports. And now that's a cargo bike. All right, now we have to get the O-ring back inside the rack lock. It just sits inside that little lip there, but we can't just lay it in on top. When you do that and reinsert the rack, it pushes the O-ring down into the bottom and bad times ensue. So take your rack, remove your rack lock, slide the rack lock onto the rack, then slide the O-ring on after it. And be sure to slide it past the point where the rack's going to insert into the frame. Then insert the rack into the bike, roll the O-ring down most of the way, and then slide the rack lock down on top of it. You'll know the rack lock is seated when the little lip underneath it disappears. Like so. Now, tying it down, and you're all set. Okay, now you have the bags on the racks back into the bike. All you have to do now to secure the bags is use those little straps in the back to tie everything down. This one's already in the correct position. Third loop from the top. I'm going to make one modification here, which is to pull this loop open. Remove the D-ring. Then pull the strap back, down, around, and thread it back through and pull it tight. So here we are fastening the X1 bag. Pull back the bag, use the D-ring, secure it, and then pull it tight.